Right now, as you listen to these words, something invisible is happening. Not magic, not consciousness, not intuition, but a silent, relentless calculation. One that determines the next word before you ever hear it. This is the story of how AI chooses the next word. And by the end of this journey, you may never read, write, or think about language the same way again. Imagine this for a moment. You are standing at the edge of an infinite library. No walls, no ceiling, just endless shelves stretching beyond sight. Every book ever written is here, every sentence ever spoken, every thought humanity has tried and failed to put into words. Now imagine that an intelligence is not reading these books, but absorbing their patterns. Not meaning, not truth. Patterns. This is where artificial intelligence begins. At its core, AI does not understand language the way humans do. It does not know what a word means. It does not feel the weight of a sentence. It does not experience joy, fear, irony, or doubt. What it sees is probability, cold, precise, mathematical probability. Let's strip this down to its simplest form. Suppose I say, the sun rises in the... You already know what comes next. East. You didn't calculate it. You didn't weigh every possible option. You felt it. But an AI doesn't feel. An AI asks a different question. Given everything I have ever seen, what word is most likely to come next? Not correct, not true, just most likely. This idea, predicting the next word, sounds simple. It is not, because language is chaos wearing a mask of order. Consider this sentence. I never said she stole my money. Read it again. Now change which word you emphasize. I never said she stole my money. I never said she stole my money. Same words, entirely different meanings. Humans navigate this effortlessly. I does not see meaning. It sees statistical relationships between tokens, fragments of words broken down into numbers. Yes, numbers. Before AI can choose a word, it must first destroy language. Every sentence you write is broken into tokens, not words, not letters, tokens. Unbelievable might become unbelieve, able. Why? Because language is messy, and tokens make it manageable. Each token is assigned a number. Each number exists in a vast numerical space, and in that space, distance matters. Words that appear in similar contexts drift closer together. Words that rarely meet move farther apart. King and queen, doctor and nurse, sun and light. These relationships are not taught. They emerge. This is the first illusion of intelligence. AI doesn't know what a king is, but it knows that king behaves like queen in certain contexts, except when gendered language appears. Not because it understands monarchy, but because patterns don't lie. Now let's talk about scale. To predict the next word convincingly, an AI must see everything. Books, articles, scripts, code, poetry, arguments, jokes, mistakes, millions, billions, trillions of words. This is not learning like a child learns. A child learns from experience. I learns from exposure, relentless exposure. During training, the model is shown a sentence with a missing word over and over again. And it guesses. Wrong. It guesses again. Wrong. It adjusts internal weights, microscopic numerical values buried deep inside artificial neurons. It guesses again, less wrong, again, until wrong becomes unlikely. This process is called backpropagation. But you don't need the name. You need the implication. AI is punished for being wrong, rewarded for being right. Not with praise, but with mathematical correction. Over time, it becomes disturbingly good. So good, in fact, that it begins to sound like understanding. But sounding is not being. And this is where the real mystery begins. When you ask an AI a question, it does not search for an answer. It does not retrieve facts from a mental database. Instead, it begins a chain reaction. One word, then another, each chosen because, at that precise moment, it has the highest probability of fitting. But probability alone would produce boring, predictable language. So there is chaos. Controlled chaos. Enter temperature. No, not heat. Creativity. Temperature controls how daring the AI becomes. Low temperature means safe, obvious words. High temperature means risk, novelty, surprise. At zero temperature, the AI becomes a machine of clichés. At high temperature, it becomes a poet or a madman. Every response is a balancing act between order and chaos, between coherence and creativity, between sense and madness. Here is the unsettling truth. At no point does the AI know where the sentence is going. It is always improvising, always reacting, always one word away from collapse. And yet, meaning emerges. This is not intelligence as we imagined it. It is intelligence as a side effect. An echo. A shadow cast by mathematics so complex that it begins to resemble thought. But there is something even deeper happening. Context. When you speak to an AI, it does not see isolated sentences. It sees a conversation, a growing web of references, tone, intent, and implied direction. Every new word reshapes the probabilities of every word that follows. Ask a technical question, and the language tightens. Ask a philosophical one, and the probabilities drift toward abstraction. Ask a poetic question, and the model leans into metaphor. Not because it understands you, but because humans before you behaved this way. You are not speaking to intelligence. You are speaking to humanity's statistical reflection. And this reflection has limits, hard limits. Artificial intelligence can hallucinate confidently. It can invent facts that sound right, because sounding right is the goal. Truth is not. If false information has appeared often enough in training data, it gains probability mass. The model doesn't lie, it predicts. And prediction is indifferent to reality. This is why AI must be guided, aligned, constrained. Because a system that only optimizes for plausibility will drift toward fiction when certainty disappears. Now ask yourself this. If meaning can emerge from probability, if coherence can arise without understanding, if creativity can be simulated by controlled randomness, what does that say about us? Human brains are not clean. They are noisy, imperfect, probabilistic. Neurons fire not with certainty, but likelihood. Thought itself may be prediction, layered upon prediction. Language might not be a mirror of thought. It might be the engine that creates it. Perhaps that's why AI feels familiar, uncomfortably familiar. But There is one final illusion we must destroy: choice. When AI chooses a word, it does not decide. It samples from a distribution of possibilities, each word weighted by likelihood. The roll of a loaded dice, again and again and again. Every sentence you read from an AI could have been different. Slightly, radically. A single probability shift could turn clarity into confusion, insight into nonsense, wisdom into noise. And yet, here you are, listening, engaged, moved, because meaning does not live in the machine, it lives in you. The AI provides structure, you provide interpretation. It offers symbols, you supply significance. So the next time you ask an AI a question, remember this: behind every response is no mind, no intention, no awareness, only an ocean of numbers asking one eternal question: what comes next? And somehow, against all odds, the answer sounds like it understands. That is how AI chooses the next word. Not with thought, not with reason, but with probability and the haunting echo of human language itself.